This is the Etches collection, a new paleontology museum in the Kimmerdige in Dorset. I saw about this in the TV, so I thought that okay, let's go and see it. It's new. Oh, I like that map. Let me just see the map. Here, come and see the map. Actually, that's what it's all about. And in relation to the whole British Isle, I'm telling you, all around the world, this Kimmerdige clay is famous for having oil beds. That's a Steve Etch that discovered many of the samples that you see here. The interactive screen is really large. Let me go first to that big full of food. Oh, this is beautiful. Susan, this is beautiful. Oh, it's exciting. And you know what is interesting about this? They have made the display in a way that you don't have much reflection. They have really designed it well. Oh, I feel so privileged to be here. Inside the belly of this ichthyosaur, you can see there is a lot of fish scale, fish bone, but at the same time you see some part there which has a big lump in it, and this has been not flattened as the other parts. And Steve was actually showing this in the BBC, I saw. Yeah, I think it was in 2012 I found the tooth of the ichthyosaur. And now I'm sure that this is the ichthyosaur tooth, because I can see similar to that here, even with the same incremental growth patterns, like the one that is center. Oh, I love this. Look at no reflection at all. This is really a well-designed museum. And Steve in BBC was explaining that this animal, the head of this ichthyosaur, you're seeing it from above first, but it was bitten, had a bite something. Some creature had a bite on top of this, from top of this. The pattern of the tooth, the size. And who tried looking at this little belly of this ichthyosaur? That's a piece of ammonite, Susan, here. Yeah. That's a little piece of ammonite.
Let me just...
You were talking about what is the content of the belly of this ichthyosaur?
The stomach?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just full of fish.
fish like, see the vertebra above there? If you
I
look
see
closely,
something
you
there
see-
also.
This
is a little, like a little here.
Like of a small ammonite that we.
No, it's all
What
fish.
is that?
That big bulge there
Yeah.
is where it's stuck up, is actually a bone that's
But
resistant
no,
to
you're
action.
talking about that one there.
What one?
Here, here.
Christ.
In this
Look.
screen you can see.
Hang
Can
on.
you see it?
Hang on.
This
Get glasses,
bit,
hold on.
that bit there.
There's a vertebra. Fish vertebra, it's another one there.
Oh, right, I see.
Yeah, there's
I
loads
see.
of them. Look, if you look
Oh, there's
closely,
loads
you
of
can see them all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's squid hooks in there as well.
Where is the squid?
Oh, Christ, the trouble is you've got to be closer to them than.
It's an amazing fossil.
Yeah, they're there. I can show because they're so small. You can see one. I can't see them, but I can see a couple of black ones there. They're little tiny black hooks. If you look at those up there, see those black hooks up on there?
I think we've seen them in the
Is it this
shale.
one?
Is it?
Oh Christ! No, that's another vertebra. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
What have we got? Let's get down.
Is that then?
Hang on.
We've
Right.
seen them in the shale.
There's a black hook there, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that part.
Yeah.
Near the
I
bottom.
see.
There's another black hook just, I think, there. They're there, but you got to be closer to it.
Yeah.
So you not notice the best bit then?
Yeah.
Orange. See that patch over the top of the
Yeah.
ribs, not under it?
Yeah.
Well, what's that then? Because you're a geologist.
What was
The
you
patch.
saying?
Can you show me here?
Hang on. Wait a minute. Yeah, no, there.
What's that would be?
That's a good question. What is it?
Yeah, go on then.
Come on, then,
I've
give
seen
us
it
your
right
idea.
now. Let me just look at it more carefully.
What do you think?
Might be friction reducing element.
So,
Water faster.
that's probably a piece of a skin. Steve
No,
says
it's not
that.
properly, it is.
It is.
Yeah, there's the elastin in it.
So elastin has not changed all over this thing.
It's just the way the skin pulls like.
There's so much in this fossil to look at. Even the eye socket, you can see in the eye socket pieces, plates that are
Detail.
around the eyes. Eat or be eaten. This interacts with the display ups. It shows the actual sea. I want to take a picture of that skin. These samples are really extraordinary.
You can see the scales on there. So beautifully preserved.
Not only preserved, I mean, taking them out, knowing that what you are doing and don't damage it by mistake,
Yeah.
you need a lot of time. And that's the tooth. Basket lock jaw. Teeth come out in curves designed for sieving its food. It ate fishes and screeds.
The dentition of that one up there. Yeah.
Oh, looks like the alien VS.
It
predator. Oh, the skin is even there. Is it scale or skin? Oh, that is lovely. Jaw and the teeth. Not all of them have sharp teeth. Skin and scales preserved. Of course, they have been squashed. And you can see they have been broken a little bit sometimes, and they have been repaired. Rich. That's a squid.
That's what it says. It's been crunched in half.
But that's the squid which is crunched in half.
No, that one is.
That one, I think you have even the ink sac.
Yeah.
Or is it ink sac?
Try to start head of the squid.
All kind of shelly creatures, including brachiopod probably, and ammonite, which you can see there. More ammonite. More ammonite. Oh, look at that. Then we come to the big show, best bit. That is also at an angle, as you see. You have to come and see it for yourself. That's from the top. This was scattered because it was eaten or something. And a big vertebra. Limb bone. Oh, that really looks like a bone. I'm surprised they're so dense. They don't look light like a bird's bone. They look dense. Again, tooth, another bone. That's the echinoid. I love. Yeah.
It's just perfect.
That's echinoid. And these are bivalves and shellfish. And of course, this is a razor shell. Crinoid, okay. Fluoroids. Coprolite. Susan, come here. Coprolite. In the sediments of the sea, you find coprolite. Coprolite is a poop.
I know what it is. Your speciality. Partial digestive fish.
Oh, ink sac. That one has ink sac in it.
I can see it.
That is squid. The ink sac of it is preserved.
Ah, no, they haven't done it yet.
And there is another ink sac inside this stomach of this fish. And shark poo. The coprolite of the shark, it looks very similar to the land animals coprolite. Oh, this one has the scales of another creature in its coprolite. That's a garfish.
It's curved like a chicken fillet.
Yeah. Giant gastropods and fish scales. That's huge. And usually you see fish fossils, fossil fishes, in a very flattened way. This one you can see actually in 3D as if it's turning toward you and the mouth is open and head has turned toward the viewer. And that's a fossil shrimp. Very fine detail. And that's the claws of a shrimp. And these are lobsters. Oh, these are rare. I've not seen much lobsters.
So perfect.
And look at the lobsters and the
And the soft side.
shrimps. Oh, inside that one live the shrimp. Or a lobster living inside the owner. Oh, the tail bones of a and the end bones of a ichthyosaur. With the ink sac preserved. Another one. More squids. Squidward. These are three-dimensional. You can see actually the cross-section of the squid. Beautiful. Oh, tailfish of a tail bones of a fish. Giant fish. Look at that. The tail and the head. And scattered again. Beautiful samples of squids. These are beautiful. So, okay, Steve H. find this echinoid sea urchin, age 5, when he was 5 years old. So, developed a taste for it. That's the workshop that we do some sample demonstration of the cleaning process of the fossil, making it suitable for display. And that is him. All kind of Heterosaurus, humerus, Pentil gel, saccharum, virtual wing, and vertebra and other bones. Are they related also to the flying reptile? They look huge. Again, all kind of ammonites. Comes down to ammonite eggs. Here, Susan, ammonite eggs. They look like fish egg
They do, don't
or a
they?
snail egg.
Little snail eggs, they do. Oh my goodness, don't they just? Like little water snail eggs. Oh my goodness. That's how little black snails.
So the first time they discovered the eggs of the ammonites was here in Kimmerdige. The most interesting find here is a coral polyps attached to a piece of wood, which you can see here. That wood is become almost carbonized, you know. It's like a piece of coal.
Is that resin or water? What's the percentage?
I think that is looking like liquid, is it?
Is it resin?
Is it resin?
I don't know.
Resin will destroy it practically because you will not be able to do anything on it unless you cut it. Partial male ray, oh. Shark bits. Probably from the arthritis. Living in water all the time wet.
Yeah, get arthritis. Oh, my bones, oh, my joints.
I need a paleontologist.
Of course, at the time, the seas were warm.
Coelocant, that's the fish that you can find in Indian Ocean near the Madagascar. Can you spot the different types of fin spines? Oh. Fin spines, oh. Yeah, the skin of the sharks have a kind of sandpaper structure, so people use it actually as a like of sandpaper. Another ichthyosaur.
What it is, gets excited. Excavate that. You and I would be fossils on the lines what it is.
Are we on the edge?
Is it curved naturally, or was it? Oh, why not consider that the ichthyosaurs could be also hunchback?
The back of the head before the, and that's the eye, isn't it? It's beyond that semicircle. So the tooth are in right at the front, where they're sticking out.
Most interesting bit, colored barnacle plate. And that bed is full of the Darwin missing barnacles. That's the pyretized. And now looking at the giant from the front. That's the mouth of the ichthyosaur, how it looked. if you were eaten by one of these, or as the Noah they say, by whale, it would have looked like this. And that's the aquarium style displays on top. And that's the real star of the show. Just flowing by the current, enjoying it. Is yeah, as if moving on a warm current, basking in the water. Has a little fishy tail. Oh, it's disappearing. Where it is gone. That's a very beautiful museum, very camera friendly, because they could easily ruin everything by just putting the lights in the wrong way. But now you can have it. And we arrived, we were the first one, and look, immediately people arrived.
That way.
How many of them are local? How many of them came
That
from?
one's got a head a bit like a chicken.
Yeah, I thought that is looked bird-like.
Because I suppose they can.
Different species lived side by side by adapting to they weren't competing for the same resources. Bird-like, Joe, ichthyosaur, fish-like, or crocodile-like. Very interesting. This collection we see a lot of squid fossils, and actually you can see the muscles and the structure, even the skin, and some of them actually have the ink sac of that feature. Ink sacs, of course, you expect to be dark, and what you see is also that. Ink sac here, another ink sac here. Actually squid with the shell itself. That's the ink sac of a squid inside a fish, so the fish has eaten them. Another ink sac. Another squid-like creature with a flame light. Another squid. Oh, that's a dragonfly wing. And another squid. They look like a tongue of a cow or sheep. But this specimen is very beautiful. You can see in 3 dimensions how it looked. Beautiful specimens, I must say. And cross section shows also the ink sac, crystallized. Okay, this is a coprolite, and these are marine coprolites. The color is different, but you can see the squeezing of the animal to get rid of and eject the coprolite. What is interesting is the sharp coprolite. That's another reptile poo. That's the reptile poo with the barnacle swallowed. And then scales, fish scales in this coprolite. So the animals were doing that. Stomach content. Okay, these are ammonites, but what is interesting here is that for the first time I'm seeing it myself, is the eggs of the ammonites. They look like a snail or slug eggs. when you do gardening, you may see a lot of these kind of eggs, which are similar to the ammonites in the all being mollusks. And these are ammonite eggs, and that actually proves what I was saying, that in areas like the Jurassic Coast, you see a lot of ammonites, and people say that they have came here, catastrophe happened, and they died. I think that is wrong. Ammonites here, we're coming here for spawning, for laying eggs. Female ammonite with massive horns, and that's probably again female.
Here.
Yeah.
And the thickness of the clay here is 500 or over 500 metres thick.
Yes.
Okay. So all through those layers, you'll find ammonites all the way through.
Yes.
Some you'll find more, some you'll find less. So if you find lots on one bedding plane, it just means that there's probably a breeding cycle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They just die after they breed.
So why the eggs are not so common in that sense?
Because no one's looked for them. Okay? And I had to prove, I had to find them inside the ammonites. Now the next thing we're doing is actually CAT scanning all the other sacs of eggs to find if there's any embryonic ammonites inside of any of those. And then when we do, watch out, because we've already published the paper describing the ammonite eggs.
And you are a co-author of that paper?
Yeah.
That's great.
Main author of the paper. So basically, we've done it with a couple of academics. Really, no one's come back and said, we think you're wrong. But of course, if you find the embryonic ammonites inside, they will be the first embryonic ammonites inside the eggs as well. And
do you have any sample that is on display with this kind of possibility, or no? You have it for your
the
analysis?
The 3 sacks of eggs up there, you saw those?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well the trouble is they're not very well displayed in the sense that it's too small and diminutive, but the bottom sack of eggs have got tubercles all over the egg caps, which is maybe a bit more advanced than close to hatching, so I don't know.
That's very interesting. May I just ask you, I will make another video on that.
You really what a fossil was, but basically where I lived, I was just digging in the garden, because kids do, used to love digging holes, and found this funny, it looked like a little bead. Afterwards, someone said, oh, it's a fossil,
What happened that you kept it so long?
I kept it, but I kept it in my mother's button box. In those days, because there's a family of 5, kids would always lose their buttons and everything, so she had a massive tin with all buttons in it, and she shoved it in there. And of course it never got lost. Otherwise I would have swapped it or lost it in school or whatever. So that's the only fossil I've retained from childhood, really.
How much you want to yourself to stick to that story? They said that you're a plumber, or you were a plumber, and you become
Okay, so plumbing, naturally, most people, if you're really interested, want to be a paleontologist. There's no money in paleontology.
No.
Okay, so there's no jobs hardly in paleontology. So on the back of doing work like plumbing and heating, I did that on the side. Okay, so that's a hobby, interest or whatever. So the plumbing paid for all the ancillary materials to do the electrical.
Oh, that practically means it's a costly hobby.
Oh, it's costly because cleaning the fossils, you see them up there, but that's not how you find them.
Yes.
So basically they're rough and a big slab. It takes hundreds of hours to clean them, and of course it takes the tools used to clean them. Well, I've probably spent, for 60, 70,000 pounds on tools.
On just tools?
Yeah, tools and air abrasives,
And these are the tools that you have in your private
in my own
space,
workshop. At the moment, the main workshop up there is not functional because as they found out their cost, it costs a lot more than they thought. And they haven't got money to actually get it operational. We need another £20,000 to bring it online. So hopefully they will do within the next month or so, because people are going to be quite disappointed when they don't see anything happening in the workshop.
Yeah, of course you will. Hopefully you will have some samples that you're working gradually on it.
So it's a big reptile actually put on that big table.
Yes.
But it's pointless putting it out until I've got something to work on. But I'm probably bringing it up next week and there and actually people look and see it.
So the next question is about your instincts. When you reach a find and you have to extract it and bring it, how you are sure that what is laying under it? So without damaging the valuable parts. Have you ever damaged any specimen that you regret?
But, like everything, glues, you've got modern glues, you can put the stuff back. Not often, because the thing is when you find it, say a trace, you've got to work out the angle it's lying at, how big it is, and basically you just take a really large slab.
But some of them look really three-dimensional. Usually you see flat fish fossils, for example, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then some of them you have found, they have the face actually turning toward you.
Collecting blocks that thick.
Yeah.
So you've got to peel all that off.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So there's a lot of work. I used to be 6'6". I'm now 5'6". I've lost a foot because of the compression on my spine.
Now, maybe just another question. Was it your personal charm, or was it the weight of your discoveries that made the council actually build such a museum based on your finds?
Okay, so basically the material we've got there in the reserve collection is not held in any major museum in the country.
Yeah.
So I filled a big gap in the collected deficiencies from the Kimmerdige. So hence its importance is immense in the sense that no one else has got that sort of.
So your council must be really visionary people that could see the potential.
Not the council, but the lottery.
Lottery.
The lottery, not the council paid for that. Actually, the council have given us, I forget how much money, they gave us a certain amount of money to get off the ground, but no, it's the lottery.
How much money is spent here?
The lottery have given us 2.7 million,
That's
and
a
the
lot
rest
of
of
money.
it is on the match fund.
And you are hopeful that we'll actually be paying for that for them, in a way, because they're investing in this
We're
as
not
a
paying
kind
any money back to them, they give it you.
Oh, they,
Yeah, yeah.
they give it as a
Yeah,
charity?
because everyone, yes, because it's a charity anyhow, they
Oh.
give it. But they got certain powers over it for the next 3 years. We've got to follow their rules, how we do it, project. So, yeah.
And this is just the first week, I suppose, that you have
This
started
is the third day.
third day. I saw that with much of how much love you actually wipe the floor even when you see something stain the tiles and everything. It shows the love, you know. That's very appreciable. I really see that love there. Thank you, Steve, for this little talk. This is the first week that Etches Museum is opened, and even in this first week, it has a lot of visitors. We just arrived 10 o'clock when the museum opens. It's now 11:05, and a lot of people already have been here, from foreign countries even. That's interesting. So, and I saw Steve actually with such a love and care. He cleaned the floor tile. He saw a little patch on it. He cleans it. He has such a strong feeling for this place as his life achievement, you know. And he said to me that he had a lot of papers published and a lot more in the publication. And this is Steve.
I think basically the idea is they sort of really die on mass. Understand that's all dead on that sea floor, you know what I mean? And the bigger ones, probably the shells have rotted slightly and it's raining down on that. And then because they're in that, they tend to sort of liquefy and you find them, if you see a few of that back, then you show the outside being if you look at the other side, perhaps you've lost it away, so I guess that's the way, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, and there's this fossilized on the insects, yeah. I don't know exactly, but that's I'm going to do a talk in a minute.
Oh, there's a talk now.
Yeah, so points that you may or may not have noticed as you're looking through this, because we can't describe everything with just text. Okay, so there are other additional sort of bits of information that we can't put on there. So if you want to come round and I'll show you some of the more interesting things, do so. If you don't, just carry on. All right. So if we start here, if you're very clever, and I expect some of you are, they've probably noticed that actually they've got the text wrong, because a femur is this bone here in your leg. Okay, and if you look at that arrow, it's pointing to the humerus of your arm. And that's wrong, but it's just that the person who did the graphics got it all wrong. So, okay, so these, all I can say is these are very large protogules. They're parts of the femur, parts of the humerus, the plesiosaurs and pliosaurs. Now, pliosaurs are exactly the same as a plesiosaur, and if you know a plesiosaur, it's like a Loch Ness monster with a long neck and a long tail. And the pliosaurs were the same family, but they had very short necks and very large skulls. And these things grew to about 20 odd meters, and they were the top of the food chain. So they ate anything and everything, all right? And we can demonstrate that when we go around the corner over there, okay? Because we find masses and masses and masses of predation. And even when you look at that limb bone there, you'll see it's quite well lit. You'll see some dents and holes in it, and they're puncture marks where something's actually grabbed hold of it and ripped it apart. But it never ate that bit, because when these pliosaurs ate flesh, they also ate bone. They didn't chew their food, they just ripped it apart like crocodiles, swallowed it, and the digestive juices dissolved the bone as well. So they took anything and everything. Okay? We've wasted a bit of space here, but I don't know if you know what coelacanths are. Does everyone know? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, there's a lady, I forget the first name, but Latimer her name was, in the 1930s. She was, because everyone thought coelacanths were extinct. Okay, and in the 1930s, there was a lady in a fish market in South Africa saw this a coelacanth for sale. She thought, "Oh my God, this is this is the first one we've ever seen." So she had to get it back to the museum before, because in those days refrigeration was, there was no refrigeration. She got it back to the museum, and of course it hit the world press. Everyone wanted a coelacanth. And it nearly caused about their extinction then, because everyone was long-lining for coelacanths to put in their museum, But anyhow, they're a sort of fish that they thought was a transitional species, i.e. a fish that its limbs were developing like legs, or its fins were developing like legs or limbs, And it was like a fish that was actually about to crawl out of the sea and go on land to carry out its next stage of life. But it never did. And if you've ever seen the films on coelacanths, they go upside down and they use their sort of fins as limbs, but they've never come out of the sort of water, as one might say, and they're still living in two groups today. And this is we've just put the bones back, that's what I've got of it, of a really large coelacanth, okay? There's one, there's just a small skull of another one, okay? But they're quite rare in the fossil record here at Kimmerdige, okay? Because some of the fish you see here, the reason we got the money to actually build this is actually, we're lucky because it's staying in Dorset. Most of the stuff is completely new to science. And when we went for funding for this, we approached the Natural History Museum, said, could we get a letter of backing for this collection to be housed here? And they came back, one of the guys, and said, we reckon you've got the best fish collection in the world, but the material that you've got in the collection supersedes ours by far. And that's the same now with the reptiles we've got, and the pterosaur material and everything else. So this is the reason the importance of the collection is actually gain this money, and it's staying here in Dorset where it should stay. You shouldn't have to go to London to see Dorset specimens. Okay, yeah, carry on. Right. You may not look, but you're looking down the throat of a shark there. Okay. So if you look around the periphery, you'll see all the sort of teeth. And the interesting thing is, on the left-hand side, you can see a funny little plate with like a barbed hook on it. And if you look down the side there, there's another bigger one. And they hang over the heads of the male sharks. They're there for a display or something, but they don't occur on the sort of females. Okay? So, and they're very rare in the fossil record, because sharks, you may or may not know, their bodies are made of cartilage, and cartilage does not readily fossilise. Fish are made of bone. Bone preserves better than cartilage. Okay, so any shark-like, we normally find lots and lots of teeth because they're made of ganoid, and we find the fin spines, but the body parts are really rare in the fossil record. So that's the first semi-3D skeleton hybrid shark we've got. Ichthyosaurs again, and if you go to Lyme Regis, if you really wanted to find an ichthyosaur, Lyme Regis would be the best place in Britain to find one. They're 2 a penny. I know that they're all that common, but anyhow, they're very common. A friend of mine claimed there's 3 specimens in a year once. Okay. But in the Kimmerdige clay, they're really rare. We find lots and lots of individual bones of ichthyosaurs, but to find something like this is really rare. And this is and if you say it was in a white stone, actually it's still from the Kimmerdige clay. It's from a Cockless limestone band that if you go down the bay and walk for 2 miles, you'll see the Cockless limestone band in the Kimmerdige clay there. And so we found the front quarters of an ichthyosaur, but it's actually really interesting because, again, it's completely new to science. And you ask why, how do I know it's completely new to science? You look along its teeth, they're really small and sharp, okay? And when you study this, no linear lines up the tooth crown. So in other words, it's a specialist feeder, and it's unlike any other ichthyosaur we found up to date. It's also got a big eye, and of course, so you think, well, it must be feeding on something special because the teeth are not robust enough to feed on these big, heavily scaled fish. Okay, so we think that it's feeding on squid. Now, squid during the day go down deep, and they hide in the sort of darkness of there, and they come up at night to feed. Well, if you've got a big eye, you can actually dive down and still see. All right, so they can catch their prey down there where they're hiding. Okay, so this is a specialist feeder, and it's got some funny-looking cartilage along the tops of the ears. I'm not going to bore you too much.
Which bit of that did you find first?
Sorry?
Which bit of that did you see?
Do you want to know the story?
Yeah.
That middle, you can see the middle there, I've joined. And I found that about 3 or 4 years prior to finding that. Now, what you must realise is you don't see it like this.
No,
if you can imagine a block of limestone that
see a little
high,
bit,
okay, and then you see the cross section of those bones. You can see a line of bones, okay. So then you've got to thin the block down, which we do with a hammer and chisel. We don't use those fossil hammers that, you know, we use a big hammer and some big chisels, and they're sharpened in a way like razor sharp. You actually go into the limestone, split it, and delaminate it. And anyhow, when I cleaned it, because you couldn't see all that, when I cleaned it, a friend said, well, find the rest of it, it must be there. I said, it's not there. I've looked. About 3 or 4 years later, I knelt down to look at them, and I could see another line of bones on another block. So when I split this big block, and it was so big that I had to use like levers. In other words, it was so heavy I couldn't lift the slabs I split off. So I had to use another chisel, lever it up, slice some pebbles in. Ideal kids, this is. And then you can just kick it off with your foot because it just rolls on the pebbles. And then split the next bit because you can only had to get down to the bottom of it. And then when I split it off, it came out in 2 blocks. You couldn't see any of this, by the way. It came out in 2 blocks. So it was so heavy, I separated it in my rucksack. It was a 100-litre rucksack with my jumper. And when I got back home, after I recovered, of course, because it takes a while, seriously, I'm not joking, you know, I opened the rucksack up and found, oh no, the jumper had gone, and so the other one of the slabs. And then I realised on the tip of the snout there was a block missing there, and I thought, oh no, in cross section you couldn't see the teeth, so it didn't look like a snout. So I had the day off the next day, because I work for myself, so that's all right. And I went back, the jumper had washed away, but right where I picked the rucksack up, that slab was there, so I thought, oh great. Then I had to go through about 300 or 400 weight of rubble to try and find the bit that was missing. And when I found that, I tipped it up, and I could see the tip of the snake. I thought, oh my God, I've got it. So then it was a case of cleaning this thing, and it's beautifully preserved. You can see it's virtually uncrushed. Okay, the skull's crushed down, but if you look on side view, it's not crushed down dead flat like there's one over there. So it's really, really nice. And since then, because this fell out of the cliff, I found more of this. So I found part of the pelvis of it. So when we describe this in neuroscience, all those features will be built into that description. So it's really, so it's all cutting edge science. This is, you know, fossils. You know, kids can find new stuff, completely new to science, and you can spend 10 lifetimes here collecting this stuff, and you'll find something new each time.
Oh, can I ask a question? So
yeah,
it's
go on.
about sharks. Sharks are cartilaginous. They have, they don't have very strong calcified bone, but they do have very strong calcified teeth.
Yes, they
Well,
do.
how is this an evolutionary something that evolved from an armoured plate or something
Right,
like
no,
that?
well,
How did that actually happen?
Well, the teeth are actually, they're not made of cartilage teeth, they're made of ganoid.
Yeah.
All right, and that's an enamel, okay? Which
So they're enamel and
they're
have they
enamel.
got dentin?
It's like your
Have they
teeth.
dentin?
It's like your teeth.
Have they got dentin? Pattern of dentin as well?
No, not as sharks,
Okay.
no. Good lad. And you, yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know that.
These aren't dinosaurs.
Yeah, these aren't dinosaurs, but you're right.
We know it's a dinosaur.
Hang on, you jump up and tell everyone, come on.
And the snake was eating squids, and the one eat guys and some eat one and the teeth.
Good lad. Well done. So, get back to this. You see these goose barnacles, they get attached to like things that float across from America, and they actually just hang off a bit of floating debris, just still feed through the water. And they're called goose barnacles. They've got a big long fleshy pedicle. Now, they're known in the Jurassic, there's no doubt about that, but when I found the complete one here, I just thought I was the same as everyone else that's found, you know? So 25 years later, along came a professor and said, can I have a look at these barnacles? And he said, well, do you realise Charles Darwin's passion was barnacles? And that particular barnacle you've got is still living today off the seas of Japan. He said Darwin assumed he would find its ancestor back in the Jurassic. He said he never did, and you've got it. So you've got that missing link. But also, he said, he only found one, during his lifetime, he was an authority on barnacles, living and fossil. He found one new fossil barnacle. He said, you've got 5 from the Kimmerdige clay in your collection. And we've also got the world's oldest coloured barnacle. So you see a photograph of that. So that's quite interesting. Since then, I found a 2.8 metre long, covered with millions of them. Alright, so it's only a 2 metre long jaw. I can assure you, they probably had a 4 metre skull. You know, they were big, they were huge. In the Natural History Museum, we've seen 2 sockets like that. And we've measured some of the teeth, they're 16 inches long. And that's including the root. And the reason they're 16 inches long in the sense they're all relative is actually they're anchored well into the jaws. So that gives them indication that they've got a really fierce and powerful bite, and they can resist torsional stresses where your teeth will come out if you did too much, you know, the roots would just pull out. But these are so deeply embedded that they can actually just rip anything apart. They're very, very strong. Okay? So yeah, the slide. Yeah. Okay. So if we go to this, we're going on to the thing. Right, the age of the rocks here, good question, 157 to 152 million years old. And the thickness of the rocks here, from that time, is 530 metres thick. And as you walk east, the beds dip, so you walk through time. So we can actually collect from the whole series. Okay? And here, okay, so we've got eat or be eaten. So there's fish that predominantly feed on different things. So we've got fish like these were like tarpon. Okay, so in other words, they swam behind other fish and just suck them in. Not one with it, fish that this long in its stomach. Okay? These are pictodonts, they've got these crushing teeth, they fed on like shellfish, they're like rhyolite rats, they eat all sorts of things. There's another one here that's got 3 rows of teeth, and this is an undescribed dentary or lower jaw of the fish, and that's rather like an anglerfish that sat on the seafloor. It just, with the 3 rows of teeth, it just closed its jaw. Real powerful bite. But also, you've got to realise that some of these are completely new, so we've not yet been described.
That one there looks very similar to, was it the cat? That,
yeah, similar, yeah.
Similar.
Yeah, very similar. No, there's nothing in the stomach there.
Oh, right, then I couldn't find it.
No, good. No, but we'll see some of those bits. Right, ammonite. Does everyone know what an ammonite is? What is it then?
It's a mollusk.
Squid in the shell. Yeah, it's not a snail, it's a squid in the shell. And it had a hydrogen, it sucked water and it jetted itself along. So a squid in the shell is an excellent food source of something. And what we found, because this sea is about 200 metres deep, so anything that hits the sea floor is unaffected by currents or storms or anything like that. What I found was hundreds of these ammonites with big chunks missing. So when you put the ammonites together, you see the chunks are always in the same place, out. And it's the back of the body chamber. So the soft tissue in the squid is anchored to the back of the body chamber. Now, if you can actually break that attachment, you can take the whole tissue out. So somebody's perfected the techniques of doing that. And originally we thought it was fish, like these big pictodonts, but actually I don't think that's the case now. They're not clever enough to do that, I don't think. But what we've got are cuttlefish. And if you've ever seen cuttlefish octopus, they're really good, very skilled at getting over problems. All they do is grasp the tentacles, position them, they've got a parrot-like beak, break the shell open, take the fish out, done. All right? Okay, so that's the first predation you see on ammonite. Never seen it before. But the Kimmerdige clay, being, like I said before, the least interest in the British fossil collector, all of a sudden we're finding complete new information from this overlooked formation. Okay, so we've got, this is an ichthyosaur. You've seen it on the front cover of our brochure, but basically it's the most complete Kimmerdige ichthyosaur you'll see. Go to the Natural History Museum and say, can I see any of your Kimmerdige ichthyosaurs? They've got nothing, except for one splat specimen, which is not very good. But this one, if you notice anything about ichthyosaurs, it's got a really large head and a small body. The tail's missing, by the way. Okay. And that indicates it's a juvenile. And then if you look under the ribs, it's just full of food. It's full of fish, and it's full of squid. And the squid have got these funny hooks on the tentacles to hook their sort of prey, because they feed on small fish. And there's a bone there which is it's raised in relief, so it's a resisted compaction. Don't forget this is squashed down now. All the pressure of the overburden is just squash this down flat. And what we do when we find these animals is we turn them upside down in fact. Because when it goes down in the mud, before it gets covered up, it starts to decay. So the bit that sticks down in the mud is the best bit of prep. So we always turn it up the other way to prep it. That includes fish as well. So that's a really interesting one. You can see if you look closely, it's got blunt teeth, so it's feeding on quite hard scale prey. Not like that ichthyosaur we just seen over there with extremely sharp teeth. Okay? Now we get on to the mega predators now. So ichthyosaurs are an excellent food source for bigger animals. And what we found is evidence of predation. So if you look there, there's a lower jaw of an ichthyosaur like this. One half is missing, there's big bite marks across the back of that. This slab here is the remains of about 16-foot ichthyosaur. And if you look at all the bones, they're all broken. And the clincher here is, if you look at the pattern, the bottom, or the top third one down, there's a line across, and you see shards of bone all held there, where a tooth has actually just gone into the bone and sharded out, flecks of bone off of the digit. But because it's still covered in cartilage and flesh, it remains. There only might be pressed again from the underside. So we can't say with any authority what the predator was. It would either be a pliosaur or a crocodile. You see the big long roots, you can see it black enamel crown. Okay? And so they deal very efficiently with anything like this. And think about, being 18, 20, 16-foot ichthyosaurs, no problem at all. The interesting one is this one. Have you ever seen on YouTube there's me cutting this thing out? And when I found it, it looked like it was preserved upside down. So when I crept it the other way up, it was preserved essentially, not. But if you look across the back of the bones, they're all broken. And there's shards of bone hanging there. Fish has just had its head bitten off. And that's just gone down on the seafloor. There was no more of it. Once you dug it out, you expect the whole skeleton. Now it's gone. And that was just the remains of it. Alright, proof that's, I'm not saying fish. There's another proposal, that's part of the limb bone of a juvenile pliosaur, and you see it's got a line of 3 bite marks across there, and the linear lines on the tooth bone actually press the those bite marks. We know it's a pliosaur feeding on a small infection. Another limb bone there where a tooth actually gets perfectly grooved. And if it's all vertebra there with 2 teeth, actually crack the bone in half, so the 2 opposing teeth just crack in half. So we've got massive and massive and massive mistakes. And this one, interestingly, it doesn't have to do with predation, but there's a new species of crocodile there. Does anyone know where its eyes were?
In the swamp.
No, they're not. Actually, there are those slits there. Okay, but interesting, this one,